and welcome, Patriot Radio News Hour. I'm Joe Jaquint, CEO of the Patriot Trading Group, and it is Friday. It could not show up a day too soon, as it has been an absolute crazy week, crazy year, crazy month. The madness of it all, and again, the gold and silver have been on a big rout. They were actually, silver's rallying now today, back to $21. Gold's down 12. It's way off the lows. Gold actually got all the way back to where it started the year. And I guess, you know, when you think of how everything else has performed, being flat for the year is kind of like winning. But let's face it. Nobody's selling gold. It's maybe the paper guys, you know, we're back into the paper things. But again, you know, people got to remember, hey, nothing's working right now when it comes to the paper markets. And they found a trade, at least for temporarily, that they were able to make a few dollars in. I hate saying I think it's probably because I said it before and I was wrong, but I really do. We are, if we're not at the bottom, I think we're right near it now. And again, I think the vast majority of the selling is over. We'll have to wait and see. You know, people are talking about, well, you know, the dollar's at a 20-year high. Listen, the dollar's been at 103, 104, 105 in the 20-plus years that I've been doing this. The dollar's been at this level, I don't know, 4 or 5 times. So it's kind of interesting because I want to remind people this is how, slowly, and again, 20 years, you're probably not sitting there saying that's a super long time. It's a long time. I mean, let's face it. You can't say 20 years isn't a long time, but in the scope of things, it's not that long. But one of the things that I found interesting was the prices gold was at this dollar level today. At one point, Jason, you know, that gold was at $300. Going back, and this is going back to about 2001. Gold's been at let's see here, 330. Gold's been at 1140. Gold's been at 1230. Gold's been at 1700. And gold, going back to earlier this week, has been at $1,923. There's this trend, Jason, where even with the dollar, you know, playing their little, because, you know, the dollar's just a basket against other fiat currencies, but really shows the weakness of the dollar when you think about, hey, 20-some years ago when the dollar was this high, gold was 330. And earlier this week, 1923, there's this stair-stepping up. Yes, maybe the dollar gets back to these levels, but every time it gets back, gold's a lot higher than it was before, and mostly because it's not back at this level because the dollar's doing so great. It's only back at these levels because other countries are doing even worse.
Yeah, I agree, Joe. And for anybody that's seen gold come down a little bit, and you get really frustrated, I don't know why. Well, what are you going to do? Sell your gold and then watch the inflation erode your dollars faster than the price of gold went down a little bit? We all know gold will go up. The inflation's not going to stop, and I know gold and silver's been very sluggish to the inflation game compared to other commodities. It'll happen. It always pops, whether it's a little late or a little early. Gold and silver always trend up with the devaluation of the dollar, Joe. So, you know what? Buying opportunity, I guess, right?
Buying opportunity. That's all it is, and buy more and more of it. Like I said, we are the cheapest in the country right now on $half at $2.40 a roll. By the way, silver's up 25 cents at $21. I got a great opportunity on Silver Eagles this morning. I bought them. We were already the cheapest in the country yesterday. And gold had gone up 25 more cents, and I'm actually a little cheaper today. So Silver Eagles, $7.10 a roll at 800-951-0592, and just, continue to add to that portfolio. It's kind of funny. Think about even like 6 or 7 weeks ago. You couldn't buy a roll of Silver Eagles for, we're talking like $830, $840 a roll. So here at $7.10, a really good opportunity to add to it. And again, one other thing too, it just shows you the ridiculousness of the paper markets. And we're talking about silver at $21, and what a great opportunity it is to buy Silver Eagles at just over $35.
That's right. Excuse me, Joe. That's right. I mean, we were selling these not too long ago in the middle 800s. So $7.10 a roll, Joe. When I think it was $8.40 there for a while. Great way to get in.
$8.40, $8.45.
Silver Eagles weren't even available. How many weeks have we had no Silver Eagles available, right?
So 800-951-0592. A lot of things to talk about. It's a little bit of a relief rally on Wall Street. I just want to mention crude oil up big again. Unleaded gas, $3.91 on the wholesale side. So that puts gas at about $5.10 here in Arizona. Like I said, before the Memorial Day holidays, we're going to have $5 plus gasoline. 800-951-0592, Patriot Radio News Hour. Joe and Jason here this morning, and we got a great silver special. We actually got 2 great silver specials. The silver halves at $2.40, the Silver Eagles at $7.10. On the gold side, $20 gold. I'll be honest, I did not think we would see a price like this again. I just didn't. I think it's going to be a short-lived opportunity. But $20 gold, $21.35. Buy 10 or more, $21.25. So some great opportunities on the pullback here, on the dip here. At 800-951-0592. Before the break, I was telling you about gasoline. This has started to get ridiculous. Crude oil's up $4 here, back over $110 to the barrel. Unleaded gasoline futures, $3.91 wholesale. So this is about the third day in a row where unleaded gas futures have gone up 10 cents, 10 cents, 10 cents. That's another 30 cents to the gallon, which we'll start seeing that reflected at the gas pumps next week. But a lot of things that make no sense. Jason calls it the fake shortages, where we basically created, almost deliberately created all of these shortages out there. And yesterday we told you about Love's, the gasoline, the big trucker gas stops all over the country saying, hey, we got a 911 all along the East Coast. Be prepared for when you pull in and we're out of diesel. We're out of gasoline altogether. This morning, John Castamades, he's and of course I butchered that name, but he is a refiner. He owns refineries. He also owns a ton of gas stations. And he was out this morning saying diesel fuel is going to be rationed all over the East Coast all summer long. He said inventories are so low, we are going to be shortages. We're going to see shortages in the coming months. He owns United Refining, and also, like I said, is a major owner of gas stations, and says that the situation is so bad that he expects that fuel is actually going to be rationed. And I don't know if that means they're going to have limits at the pumps where, hey, you only can get, 10 gallons, or you only, now obviously if you're an 18-wheeler, you're talking hundreds of gallons. Are they going to restrict how much you can purchase, or are there going to be restrictions on how much the gas stations can actually order? That part was unclear, Jason.
Well, if they're creating an emergency so that they can put into effect whatever policies or to cover this economic collapse that's coming, maybe the shelves are continue to stay fuller than the powers that be want them to stay full, Joe. So it's like, well, how do we get these shelves to be empty so people freak out? How do we jack the prices up more? How much chaos can we create? Because that's how I see it, Joe. I see that they're trying to do this, and maybe they're just not as successful as they want to be. So, okay, well, gas rationing.
We don't have enough shortages. Wait, this isn't working well enough. Let's just prevent them from having gasoline and diesel fuel so that way they can't get things to store.
Well,
I don't know.
Well, Joe, it's an on-time market. It's an on-time market when it comes to your shelves. So if you slow the trucks down just a little bit, it'll create the shortages you want if that's in fact what's happening.
Yeah, and how many times I sit there saying, I can't believe I'm saying this on the air, and yet, here we are, and I'm like, I've never heard of such a thing. What do you mean? Hey, we're going to have to ration fuel, and like I said, they didn't really make it clear as to where the rationing is going to be, right? Is it going to be at the fuel stations, or is it going to be, hey, guess what? You're only allowed to buy this much diesel or this much unleaded gas. I mean, it's going to be one of those situations where the way he was talking, this is a certainty in his mind. He goes, this isn't a question of maybe. There's just simply not enough gasoline and diesel fuel. And the issue on the East Coast, I don't know what it is, right? I don't know if it's because they've decided that the energy there was going to be sent to Europe, right? Hey, we're going to send gas and we're going to send diesel to Europe, and we're going to do it from the East Coast. Or if it's just something where the East Coast, as a way of business, always was like, hey, we're not going to quite buy everything that we need, and we're going to buy the other 10 or 20% on the open market because, hey, you know what? Maybe it'll go down, maybe it'll go up, maybe they weren't fully hedged and had all the contracts. But whatever it is, Jason, this is going to be, can you imagine being a trucker and being like, well, I could be there tomorrow, but unfortunately I've got to wait before I can buy enough diesel to actually get there. So instead of being there tomorrow, I'll be there in 4 days.
I'm thinking maybe you just need to decipher what the word rationing means. Maybe it means something we're not thinking. Like, hey, when we use the term we're going to need to ration, that just means $8 a gallon diesel. Maybe that's what it means. Maybe that's what rationing means, Joe. You just because once again, if you make the prices go obscenely high, people will not be driving trucks to stores. They're going to have to cut back. Well, maybe that one store in Memphis needs to not get their stuff. Maybe we need to shut that one down. Then we'll use less gas, right, Joe?
Yeah, well, I mean, right, and I keep saying it, demand destruction that we've never really seen is the only answer. It was very interesting. Yesterday we got news out of OPEC. And OPEC was kind of doing the crying game, and of course the Biden administration was, I guess let's call it what it is, not exactly on good terms with the Saudis or UAE. But today, reports were out that OPEC is missing production by almost 3 million barrels a day. In other words, OPEC says, okay, Saudi Arabia, you can pump this many million barrels. UAE, you get this many. Iraq, you get this many. Nigeria, you can pump this much. So what they're saying is allowed to be pumped versus what's actually being pumped. They're short 2.7 million barrels. And this goes to my point, Jason. I think they're pumping all they can pump.
Right. Well, I mean, also, you don't have to pump as much if the prices are higher, too. You know, they have a lot of control over those prices, Joe. So, I mean,
you know what? See, this is why I love having Jason. He always takes, well, not always, but he always has a little different take than I do. I'm saying, hey, they're doing all they can. Come on, 110, 111, 112. Saudi Arabia, you got to remember, Saudi's like, hey, add $5 to whatever spot is. Jason's like, hey, they're making so much. They probably could pump more, but why? Right? Back to your whole fake shortage situation.
Right. False scarcity is how the powers that be always keep the average man in control, Joe. There's plenty of stuff. There's always been plenty of stuff. We just have a centralized, planned society, starting with central banks, central governments, central religion, central military. It's all, central education. It's all centrally controlled. I mean, how many alphabet agencies does our federal government have? And we don't even need any of them.
Can't even count them.
Don't even need any of them. Don't need any of them. But hey, boy, to have that control, to have that power, that takes a lot of people, a lot of manpower, and you guys down there, hey, you just do what you're told. We got it. We got it. You don't need to make decisions.
I'm wondering how long until the Ministry of Truth sends me a warning and gets me in trouble for telling everybody what's really happening out there. How about this one? Samsung Electronics. Now, I know we know Samsung, the phones and all that. They're also pretty much one of the largest chip makers in the world. Says that they are increasing their prices for chip contracting, manufacturing. In the second half of this year, they say chip prices are going to increase by 20%, giving the level of manufacturing complexity. Yes, CJ, it's really hard to make these things. So here's another 20% increase. The decision says the cost of energy, raw materials, equipment, freight, labor, right? This is like a broken record, and it doesn't stop, but yet inflation's peaking.
See, Joe, that's why when gold goes down, it doesn't bother me at all. It only bothers me in one respect, that a lot less customers want to buy gold. They freak out. Gold's going down. Oh, I ain't doing that. It's about how many ounces you have. I wish people would get this. How many ounces do you have? Yeah, how many ounces do you have?
Add to that weight. Add to that weight. Believe me when I tell you, add to it. I'm just going to say this. So they also said, listen to this. They're saying that the lag time from when a chip is ordered to when it gets delivered, okay? So normal lag time, 6 weeks. And that's just because it's going on a boat and, it takes a little longer. You could actually cut it down to a couple of weeks if you put it on planes. You pay a little extra. 26 and a half weeks. So think about this. If you ordered a chip today, they'll have it to you right before Christmas. It's incredible. And again, this is the problem. There's no easy solution here. This problem isn't going away. When we look at automobiles, when we look at washers and dryers and all these other things, none of this is going away, Jason.
No, Joe, and that's why I said,
And now add another 20% to the cost.
Correct. That's why holding on to dollars, even though the dollar is showing all this strength, why do you want to hold on to something that you need more and more and more of to pay for the things that you could have got a lot easier 2 years ago, 3 years ago? So there's not a lot of places to go. So really, once again, how many ounces do you have? That ounce and that ounce of gold versus one cow, that still holds true today. An ounce of gold and a cow is essentially the same price. And how big is your herd, basically, Joe? How many cows do you have? Because I'll tell you right now, cattle ranchers, the more cows they have, the bigger the cattle rancher, the bigger the business, the more wealthy the cattle rancher is, Joe. So, gold goes down $100 an ounce over time, whatever. It's going to go back up because the crooks that run our monetary system will force gold up. It's just the way it works, Joe.
Well, let me tell you right now, I think the best example was the one we started the show with. Over the last 22, 23, 24 years, this is the fifth time, if you will, that the dollar has gotten to this level that it's at today. Every single time, gold's always higher. Every time. And it holds true again today. I think this dollar run has about run its course. I think the sell off in gold and silver's run its course. And again, the wishful thinking that somehow the Fed can pull us out without causing a recession. Jay Powell was out yesterday. I'll tell you what he said about that. We'll talk about that next. Hey, we're back here. Patriot Radio News Hour. Joe and Jason, 800-951-0592. U.S. Silver Eagle, $710 a roll this morning at 800-951-0592. U.S. $20 gold pieces, 1 through 9, 21.35, 10 or more at 21 and a quarter. Again, 800-951-0592. You gotta be able to do it right. Buy pullbacks. It's funny. Arlene was in issues. I don't understand it. This is the time when they need to be buying, and it's hard though, right, Jason? It's hard when the market's working against you. But here's what I'm going to tell you right now. Let me just put it to you this way. What are your instincts telling you? Are your instincts telling you that the U.S. economy is on the precipice of some huge major upswing, and life's going to be great? The Dow's going to 100,000, and Jay Powell and his cronies are masterful at their jobs, and it's going to be great and wonderful? Or is it telling you, man, this doesn't make sense. None of these moves make sense. This is, I think the worst of it is yet to come. If it's that part, today's the day you should be buying, Jason.
Yeah, exactly, Joe. And just to tell you the truth, I actually understand selling better than sitting and doing nothing. Because if you're selling, I understand you're going to take that money and do something with it. Obviously, when it's low, you should be buying it. But sitting and doing nothing, Joe, that seems to be, I think, the worst of the three choices. This you should either be buying it, or if you have something you need to move the money, move your gold into something else, sell. Because I noticed, Joe, in the 4 years I've been here, when gold has a little bit of a pullback, we get some sellers that come in, and they know that gold's going to come back. They just have other things they need to do. Maybe they have an investment. Maybe they have to pay for some home upkeep or something. So I get the selling. I don't get the sitting and watching it. That's the part I just don't get, Joe. Sitting on the thing that is being, especially 2021, 2022, the inflation. Why are you sitting on a bunch of money at a bank, Joe? Well,
I'll say this. Even though you're getting slaughtered in the stock market, it's probably safer there than it is in a bank. Wait till all of these things come unglued here. By the way, foreclosures. We haven't talked foreclosures in probably years now. But foreclosures, and it's early. I don't want to get too excited about it, but foreclosures now up 132%. Now, granted, they were really, really low, but again, another one of these early signs that things are getting harder, Jason.
Joe, I'm so glad you brought that up, because something I wanted to put on the air the whole week, and I forgot. I was looking at home prices. Sometimes you just check it out and see what's going on. It's basically show material. But I end up looking because where I live is kind of an in-between town kind of area, but Longmont's kind of close. And I was looking at homes for sale. And the homes for sale along, there was the little list. You see the prices and the homes, and then suddenly, after I guess I would consider those somebody wants to sell their homes, and the list that I was looking at devolves into, okay, now here's more homes for sale. These are all they called them pre-foreclosure, and this is Longmont, and it was page and another page and another page, and I'm like, oh man! And I was a process server, Joe. I know I'm the one giving out the papers, getting it into the pre-foreclosure. I remember all this stuff. There was more pages of pre-foreclosure homes for sale than the actual homes for sale. And then there was the foreclosures and the liens page. If there's a lien on the house, liens turn into pre-foreclosure. Pre-foreclosure turns into foreclosure, Joe. And the pages of lien homes, pre-foreclosure homes and foreclosure homes for sale was just dwarfed normal sales. So how about that, Joe? I mean, that's just one city I was looking at, just Longmont.
Yeah, and again, like I said, it's early. I don't want to make it worse than what it is, but there's definitely to Jason's point, there's a change in the market. This is something where, like I said, it has been a really long time since we've uttered the word foreclosure, and now they're starting to pop up. And I guess, Jason, to your point, this is even more important, is the liens and the pre-foreclosures, because foreclosure means they've gone through the process.
Yes.
Jason's saying, hey, by the way,
the process has started. Yeah, the process has started.
A lot more homes are getting into the process, and really, my guess will be it's going to start with places that maybe aren't the boom towns, but as that starts to spread, right, it doesn't take much, and then all of a sudden everybody's like, hey, I think home prices are going to go down, I'll wait. And then that waiting, begets more waiting. Next thing you know, are we going to have another big housing crisis? I hope not. I really hope not, but I'll say this. The prices have to they're going to have to come down a lot for people to afford what the pricings are going to be with rates continuing to rise. Jay Powell yesterday, do you know he got renominated yesterday? I mean, officially reappointed yesterday. He got renominated late last year. But yesterday, they actually said, yep, he's got another term. How does that happen?
I have my own idea about that. You have to have.
Could he have been any more wrong about what he had been saying for the last several years about inflation? And yet, he's our guy.
You got to crash it on Jerome Powell's watch so that the next person can come in and look like a hero, Joe. That's how they do it.
Lael Brannard's the next person.
Yeah, so they can't have her in now when things are going to crash. They have to have her in after.
And I'm going to tell you right now, when she comes in, I think that could be the perfect timing. She's going to come in with that digital dollar. She is a screaming liberal, and use that as a way. I mean, I think we could see, things where, hey, if you're the right ethnicity, if we can trace your lineage back to slavery, if we can track it back to who knows what, you get extra money, you get extra credits, and all you evil doers from the old school, you're going to get less. I could see that happening. But Jay Powell was talking about a soft landing, so he gave his definition of a soft landing. Full employment with inflation back at 2%. I will tell you this, if he really means that, then we are headed for the worst depression this country's ever seen, because it's not possible. We'll talk more about that when we return. 800-951-0592, Patriot Radio News Hour, Joe and Jason. And yeah, can you believe yesterday was the day that Jay Powell was reappointed to another term as our Fed chief, Jason. And I just got to ask, I mean, is this not the best job ever? Right? It's got to be. I mean, maybe even better than Fauci's job. At least everyone, a lot of people are out there criticizing Fauci. Apparently, you don't have to know anything about anything. You can get every prediction you possibly make wrong and still somehow keep your job.
I don't know. What does he get paid? Maybe that has a lot to do with the best job, right? What's that guy getting paid to do that stuff? I mean, the vice president's kind of a useless job, and Kamala Harris is probably benefiting off of, hey, she can make a lot of noise and say a lot of things, but there's no repercussions for all her mistakes too, right? So, I mean, there's a lot of government
Joe
jobs.
Biden got made president, so why not, right? I mean,
well, at least he has stress.
This is the best we got.
But Biden at least has stress and tension on him, whereas I think Vice President or even Jerome Powell, I don't know how much stress those guys have, even Fauci has a little bit of stress from the anti-vaxxers. And
that's what I'm saying. I think this is the best job. I'll say what I want, and, it doesn't matter. I don't even have to be close to right. So anyway, he defined his version of a soft landing. So I guess here's the best case scenario. The best case scenario, and this is for paper assets, so we're talking stocks, we're talking bonds, is Wall Street doesn't get clobbered too much. And I guess we could argue what too much is, but hopefully not too bad. And we still have, some economic growth. We don't end up in a recession. I guess that is that is their best case scenario, is Wall Street doesn't get hit too bad and we don't end up in a recession. That's the best we can hope for, right? So I guess, what would we call it, Jason? I guess a slowdown, if you will. His version of a soft landing is getting back to 2% inflation while still having a strong labor market. So this is very interesting. We'll see how long this stands. And I'm making this point today because come October, I got a funny feeling they're going to say something entirely different. If he is a man of his word, which I don't believe that he is, but if he is, that's a guaranteed depression. Period. Getting back to 2% inflation would mean interest rates are going to have to be north of 10%. There's not a chance in hell I see that happening. But here's what else he said. Ready? It will be challenging. It won't be easy. No one here at the Fed thinks it will be easy. Nonetheless, we think there are pathways for us to get there. Of course, the Senate overwhelmingly confirmed Powell for a second term, based on all of these statements. Here's my question. So, if that's true, let's just assume for 1 minute that he's not lying to us like he always does, because they lie. What are these pathways, Jason? Tell us, right? Wouldn't that be? Tell us the pathway. What is it?
Right, Joe? I don't think he...
Tell us. Explain to me the pathway.
I don't think he has a pathway, Joe. I don't think he knows either. I think they kind of know what's going to happen, but I think he's just trying to tell you to stay calm as the tidal wave is coming in. There's nothing you can do about the tidal wave. It's going to happen, right? Stay calm.
But again, there are things you could do. You could get out of the market.
Yep.
You could buy some more gold. And so that's what he should be telling people to do right now. That's what he should be telling people to do right now. But, of course, let's face it, the realities are they care more about their system than they do about your personal well-being. Period. And they show it time after time after time. And I'll say this, I get more frustrated about that than anything else, because they sit there and they try to convince you that they care about you, and they got these clowns that come out on TV every day. I mean, think about how many channels they have dedicated to convincing you to put your money into the stock market that they know is going to get devastated. And I just don't understand it. And they're going, oh, well, over time and this. Listen, we have been in this bubble since 1971. They have been creating this bubble for 50 years, and it's over. And the dollar is coming to an end, sure as I'm sitting here. And they've been slowly, think about this. Go back 10 years. Well, not even 10 years. Go back 6 years, 8 years. When Janet Yellen and Ben Bernanke were lying to us about, oh, no, we're not looking at a digital currency. Oh, no. No, we wouldn't do that. Oh, no, absolutely not. We were having a few meetings about it, and we're more worried about people losing all of their money in these digital coins, and we need to regulate. To now, I mean, let's face it, look at what they're saying now. Oh, yeah, we're pretty much 90%, what was the number? 90% of all central banks in the world are now admitting, oh, yeah, we're definitely going to a digital currency, and us being one of them. Which just means, hey, we've ruined the life of the currency we have, and everybody better get ready, because there's going to be a lot of pain before that digital currency gets here. Patriot Radio News Hour, final segment coming up. 800-951-0592. $20 gold pieces, $21.35. 10 or more, $21.25. U.S. Silver Eagles at $710 at 800-951-0592. China's now saying their goal is for zero COVID by mid-May. Which isn't it mid-May? I mean, it's the 13th of May. Could we see a reopening of China here? If so, expect gas prices to go even higher. New all-time record highs on diesel and unleaded gas. Retail, new all-time record highs on diesel and unleaded gas. Wholesale. And Jason, this thing could get significantly worse as well. And I'm watching some of these guys. There's a guy out, and I want to give him credit here, Stephen Vanelli. He's got a bunch of charts out, and he's comparing 1929, 1987, the two big crashes there, and today, and saying, they got all these charts, but saying these patterns are eerily similar to what is playing out today to those two other market crashes. I know Robert Kiyosaki was out saying, get ready for the biggest crash ever. This morning we had University of Michigan sentiment went back to 11-year lows as once again inflation fears taking hold of the consumer, Jason.
I agree a little bit with that guy. I think the 1929 crash and late 1960s, when the markets fell and didn't come back for over 2 decades on both sides, 27 years from the 1929 crash and 25 years from 1968. Even though there wasn't a real big market crash in the 60s, there was high inflation and the markets came down and wouldn't. I mean, the S&P didn't recover from 1968 till 1993. I mean, think of how much destruction of value that people had to go through in that period, Joe, of not losing their value in anything, right? And same thing, we had inflation, World War II, right, Joe? You had the crash, and then World War II came in, and both of those were inflative situations that went on for decades. We are heading into another one. I know Joe doesn't really go as far as I go, but I could see these markets go down and not recover their value for their highs for 20 years. It could easily happen, Joe.
Well, I'm going to say this. I think we're actually strangely in agreement. The only reason why, and Jason brought up those two incidences where we went multiple decades. I'll bring up Japan. Japan's on year 40? Year 40 now, 40 plus years, where their markets haven't come back. We avoided that over the last 50 years through money printing, through debt creation. That has run its course. We can't print more money with the currency that we currently have. We need a reset to happen. So to Jason's point, we're probably looking at a period of 10 to 20 years before we start seeing economic growth returning because of all of the debt printing that we've done already. So,
hey Joe,
that
matches the Pentagon's evaluation on how long the Ukraine war is going to last.
Yeah, there you have it.